Okay. Dear friends, welcome once again. Let me share the draft agenda first. Okay. Dear friends, today within our agenda, we have 4 items. Of course, this is the draft agenda. The first item is, it will be a continuation of the discussions at the email group, UBI related visions. To tell the truth, it will not be a typical session of us. It will not be same as the previous sessions. In this one, we would like to hear different ideas. It will be like a brainstorming session. And the second item in the agenda is we will give a short report regarding the simultaneous signature collection campaigns for UBI. It will be a very short agenda item. Then we would like to hear from working groups, and also we would like to hear from UBI advocates and UBI networks if they would like to share any news from their countries. So this is the draft agenda. Do you think it's okay, or would you like to add or modify anything? I'm trying to see. I guess it's okay. So we can continue with our first item, which is this line, UBI related visions, a brainstorming session. Let me stop sharing. So dear friends, it will be a kind of brainstorming session. Who would like to talk first? Nobody?
It's very hard to read the line there. Sorry, I couldn't read the line and what it was.
Okay, let me share once again. Let me share once again. UBI related visions, a brainstorming session. Let me give you some hints. For example, what you think about the election systems, what you think about the political parties, what you think about to have a party just for UBI, or what you think about collaboration with our movements like the women movement or the Greens movement, or what you think about how we can realize this issue. Okay, public awareness is important. We are trying to do it, but what should be the following steps, or what kind of future expectations we should have? Okay, Gerdor, very nice. Please, Gerdor.
Okay, I think that we have had enough of political parties as such, and I think that UBI should be a part of every socially thinking party in the world, and everybody pretends they are. And I think we should. I was discussing this Deem 25, which has been coming up with a very, very progressive way of political establishment as a party, but still not. And I think that what they say is very much parallel with our ideas. But then I hear also from criticism about some of their issues, which are not kind of pointed out what it is. But because Deem 25, Janus Varoufakis was very much pro-UBI and is, in fact, but still not very clear on it. So I think that we should, for example, if we want to be a part of a political party, they have gone through all the processes of the complications of selecting, of voting, of coming clear through their issues. And I think that we should at least some of approach them and find out what their issue is with UBI and make UBI what it is. UBI is nothing but the base for societies all around the world. You can have all those matters that we are fighting for as a humanity, or for the chain of life, or whatever it is, without basic income for humanity, for people everywhere. we will not get anywhere. So I think that, you know, it is like breathing. UBI is a part of breathing for society. So if we study Team 25, for example, as a political party with all the structure already established in a way, we would save ourselves a lot of work, because just to come up with a special party promoting it and everything as a political party, we're kind of shooting us in the foot. Well, it's too much work, in my opinion, and a competition with other political parties instead of leaning on the work that is already there, if provided they are going the same direction as we are. But mind you, we are not all going parallel, hand in hand with our ideas about what UBI is. I, for example, look at the UBI as a human right of everybody, and I will see that as a separate income, which is a human right which the government of each country has to provide. And but salary for other income, salary for work delivered, is a different package, and that is another fight for the unions to fight and protect people on the working market. Because now the fight of the unions all their energy goes into fighting for survival salaries for their work, which is not the valuation of the work delivered. It has to be separated, in my opinion, because then, you know, when we are fighting for minimum salary for this, minimum salary for that, it's gonna suffocate the fight for our human right, which is basic income. It's the same thing as with basic education. It has now become a human right, because we cannot survive in a society without basic education. There is no company established without basic education. You have to read and write and calculate. You have to calculate your income, at least, you know. So that is my suggestion, that we go and study which kind of organization is already there. And if we don't find an island, well, we have to make one.
Thank you very much, Gerda, for your interesting contributions. Maybe we can continue with Claudia. Dear Claudia, please.
Yes, hello. Adi, what you were mentioning about maybe broadening the debate and bringing it into a different light, it made me think about the fact that what brought me to UBI was another topic that was for me totally related, which is degrowth. The degrowth movement is quite big. Has gained in size in the last years with the ecology awareness, the ecology problems awareness. So for me, getting interested in degrowth for a while, I was realizing that to me this
Dear Claudia, you are muted. I don't know why.
Yeah, sorry. Was I muted for a long time?
Maybe last two sentences, please. Once
again. Okay. My cat is really rebel. So, so yeah, I was thinking that the growth, I was finding the growth very theoretical, and I couldn't find any practical ways of getting at it. And when I discovered about UBI, I realized that this was, to me, the way to tackle both the degrowth problem, the growth problem, and the ecology problem. Now that I've gotten in touch with several different groups, I now see another thing that I didn't see at the beginning, which is inclusivity. Inclusivity not only as a fight towards how do we say, being poor, not only a fight towards like being poor, but also inclusiveness of all the different racial problems, gender problems, ethnicity problem in general sense. So I see now that the art movement is starting to get involved in the topic, and I realize that artists are really, really, really important to our movement, because they are the ones that can amplify a message. They can make it felt by everyone, and this is much stronger than any theory and any good words and proverbs. So that was my thoughts. Degrowth being like a topic that I think there's like a big group of people that we could be integrated to our fight, that are, if we articulate UBI to degrowth and ecology, if we make it clear how UBI comes to issues and inclusivity in the very broad sense, not only for people but to me, those three topics would be really important to add in the narrative, to be able to get like a larger audience. That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you very much, Claudia. We will continue with Ashutosh, but dear Gerdo, dear Claudia, is it possible to write one or two sentences regarding your opinions? I mean, the growth is important, and the other. I mean, I try to catch everything, but it will be great for all our friends, I guess.
So, do you want me to put it in the chat, or?
Yeah, it will be much more better, so that everybody can read from there.
Okay.
Maybe the keywords, it will be even very useful. Dear Ashutosh, you are here. Okay, please. Dear Ashutosh, would you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, my name was called out.
Your name is?
Ashutosh.
Oh, okay, please. We are.
Yeah, this is my first meeting. I'm from India, and we have been talking about UBI to different groups. And a lot of people are interested in arguing against UBI in India, which is very good. But many of them argue with closed minds, whereas I found that it is the students, it is the college students who argue, but with an open mind. So my suggestion is that we approach students rather than approaching any other group. Wherever we are, if we can talk to college-going students, that might create a more groundswell for us. That's all I have to say at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dear Sabine, you are here, okay. Dear Sabine, okay.
Yeah, now. Here in Germany, we had a party just simple on the UBI, which was, of course, one theme party, one item party. And the further we went, the more we became really a party, which is really not funny. I don't want to be a party for UBI because we get struggles. We become really politicians, and I don't know if I want this. I don't want this for me, and because we are really loving people, and we accept each other, and you don't get accepted in parties, nowhere, even in a one item party. That's not possible. It doesn't work. So what I suggest more is what Gerdo said, going into movements like Fridays for Futures, for example. They are very young people and they are open for the UBI, especially here in Germany, and which I find it's very, very necessary to go with young people. Yeah, I think I'm clear enough. So thank you very much. And thank you for Claudia and Gerdo, because they did the most of speaking I wanted to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sabine. Any other friends who would like to contribute? May I ask a question? When we are talking about young people, what do you mean? Which age you are targeting, for example? Maybe dear Ashutosh and Sabine, would you please comment on this? What do you mean by young people?
Well, Fridays for Futures are young people about 20 onwards. We can talk to young people like 16 age. I mean, why not? They are starting becoming grown-ups. They are becoming aware of the world. They are becoming aware of the people around them. And why shouldn't we start there? But do they have any strong unions or movements? They don't really have. They are just going by Instagram or by all these social medias, talking to each other. I don't know how to get into these young. Yeah, why don't we go into schools, for example? That's not a bad idea. I had years ago, but I have never done it. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Dear Ashutosh, would you like to say anything about the age of the target?
Yes, I think once they leave high school at the age of say 15 or 16, then they start thinking in terms of their jobs and careers and how to finance their education as well. So I think that would be the age, 16 to say 25 would be the age group that I would target. Between 16 and say 25.
Thank you very much. Dear Gerda, would you like to add anything else?
No, I just wanted to, because we're talking about degrowth, which I find very interesting, because degrowth, in a way, it is how I started having my devotion to degrowth. And it's about 30 years ago, because I read the book Small is Beautiful by Edward Schumacher. And I really advise you, everybody who has not read it, to read it and keep it under your pillow and read it every night, something of it, because that is, it is so long time ago that he wrote it, and everything in it is so true. And degrowth is the necessity for the planet. And another thing which I think, because I'm talking always about separating work and basic income, or income from employment to work as such, is because work is also the art of living. It takes a lot of work to enjoy the art of living, and we have artists which are the core of our emotions, and we cannot afford to go to the concerts, you know, that is not very good. So it's also work to go to a concert and to enjoy the fruits of their efforts. So we have to make space for life, and that is why we have to degrowth, and we have to minimize the hours we work to get the fulfillment of life, because that is what we are getting income for. We are selling our talent, selling our energy, selling our hours to live, not to, what are we doing it for? You know, because, for example, we enjoy each other company, and we have to have more time for that pleasure. So let's just focus on pleasure in life and prosperity. You know, we don't have to work with producing some bullshit that nobody needs, and having all the work to produce, to try to get rid of it in some nice way. You know, so our working life now is focused on solving the problems we have created with junk. So let's, change our focus. Let's have fun. Okay.
Thank you, Gerda. Dear Shobana.
Thank you for Ali. Actually, while Sabine and Ashutosh were telling about the youth, I thought let me share my experience of meeting the youth I'm just using the channel of youth as a medium to propagate the idea of UBI in India.
Dear
So we have a number of
dear Shobana, your voice is not that good. Maybe a problem with your connection. Maybe would you like to turn off your camera? Maybe it will enhance the quality of the voice.
Am I audible now?
Now much better. Thank you.
Okay. So in India, actually, we have a very heavy population. To reach the population, now we are into the method of reaching the youth, because the youth has the power to propagate the idea of this UBI to the whole nation. And they create memes, lot of memes, MEMES. We say small picturesque jokes and funny things that they make, they draw, they animate, and with the help of that they'll be able to take this idea to everyone. So we are arranging a lot of lectures. Originally we started with UBI lecture alone. Now we are arranging lot of free leadership empowerment programs for the youth. And while we are explaining about the leadership programs, we are half the time explaining about UBI. So that way we will be able to explain this concept to youth. And youth will be able to take this to the leaders of their own states. And also we are conducting lot of competitions among the youth, many competitions, and it's very quite challenging to talk to youth about this UBI also, because they give you a lot of questions and they'll challenge you, and it will be a challenge for you also to explain and to make this concept reach everyone. And so we conducted a lot of panel discussion and competitions on Tancourt debates. And thereby we are trying to reach the youth. And we also have number of WhatsApp groups. So every state has a WhatsApp group. So there are 100 to 200 youth in every groups. So slowly they are getting the idea. They are debating with us. They are fighting with us basically. And then they are getting the idea. So those who are getting motivated start speaking about that. So the youth is a powerful team, as two of you suggested, and others also can think about reaching the youth. Thank you, Ali.
Thank you very much, Shabana. Interesting things. Would you like to write the keywords to the chat box too? For example, the competitions. It's very important, I guess, to capture the youth.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Sure. I'll also share the songs that we made the youth to prepare.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Maybe we can continue with Elena. You are unmuted. Maybe you can also introduce yourself and tell your ideas.
Yes, thank you very much, Ali. It was very nice to hear all your ideas. It's brilliant. Yes, youth is the future. We all understand that the future will belong to them. And we also been focusing on teenagers and also the university students. Why I'm saying we, sorry. I'm working with several companies. I am based in UK. I have a company, Acumen Capital Solutions and Acumen Capital Partners. We provide services to startups working with blockchain technologies, crypto technologies, and with the new vision of the changes in the world. We strongly believe in a fourth revolution, industrial revolution. And with this vision, we've seen the change in understanding of young generation, at least in UK and in US. We have a couple of teams in US, in Canada, and we also have several people in Africa who is working with UBI movements. And actually in US, UBI movements, it's quite popular. We have contact with one of the actually with several ministers and with several people from government. And one of the biggest projects what I'm working with is called Intercoin. It's a special technology. I would be happy to share later on, maybe in the email to all participants to have a look properly, because Intercoin became a UN partner this year, Act for SDG. And one of the achievements is to promote UBI to MPs in UK and also in US. One of the cities going to run pilot project in in the first quarter of the 2021. We have several achievements in the last couple of months, specifically after when we achieved partnership with UN, and I will also share the link for the UN page of Intercoin. The main vision is to give people understanding that UBI actually is not stopping everyone from opportunities to work, but gives the opportunity to have a safety net. And we actually have already one of the several big videos around the UBI, and I would be happy to share. On YouTube, we have almost half an hour presentation with the history, how UBI was developed and what it can bring to society. That actually can help people who never ever heard of UBI to understand the reason why we want to achieve these opportunities for everyone and every country, not just limited to specific countries of the third world where everyone think like, oh, we need to help Africa. Yes, we need to help Africa, but we also have kids who are going to schools hungry in UK as well as in US, and no one actually thinks that some families have struggles through the COVID and in situations what we have all over the world. So that's kind of very short from me. I would be happy to maybe if I will send email to Ali and then he will distribute to everyone, because I'm not ready to share all the links right now. I didn't get the bigger picture. I didn't know what would be needed, but I will be happy to follow up. And of course, I will be happy to answer any questions and connect with everyone. I will post my LinkedIn profile. That's what I can do right now. But all the other links, I promise that I will send later on after our meeting.
Dear Elena, thank you very much. Maybe you heard about it. We have a Gmail group, Google group. If you can send your messages to that group, then it will be disseminated to the whole.
I don't have details of this group. If you will share with me, definitely I will send this in the group.
Okay, I put the name of the Google group at the chat box, and if you can give your email address, we can send an invitation to you. It will be very beneficial to all our friends.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sabine, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, because if we are talking about youth, I think we are talking about children and our own child, because we are talking with our children about UBI. I'm pretty sure we do, and so our kids are taking it into school. And I had some school classes talking about UBI when we had released some movies on UBI, like Free Lunch Society, for example, 2 years ago. And I think this is a very good way to implement UBI in families, going further with families and my relatives. And I would like to say another point is Fridays for Futures realize that they can't go alone on their way. They have to connect with other unions or organizations. So that's why they talked with us about UBI on, I don't know what it was, but anyway, they talked with Mein Grundeinkommen, the organization who is giving away the UBI monthly, if you are voting for that. Yeah, that's it. You understand what I mean?
Would you please clarify a little bit more?
About what?
Good question.
Ali, I can say something.
Please, Robin.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I see that. I see the
yeah, it's we were talking about Fridays for Future, and I am into the ECI for UBI in Europe, the Citizens Initiative, and we had a conversation with this girl named Christine from the Fridays for Future, and we had about cooperating with each other, so we are sharing each other's things for the social media. We agreed on that, so we need them and they need us, because they are also with a ECI for 1 million signatures, and they're now at 72,000, so they're not already there yet. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robin.
Ali, you are muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. I cannot see any friends who would like to contribute. Maybe in the meantime, we can hear from Peter regarding the global map of UBI networks. So it may trigger some other discussions too, dear Peter. 1 second. Yes.
I unmuted myself. Yeah, this initiative that Ali and gosh, Hannes from Germany started, and I joined, and I do the actual putting things up on a map. We have Ali can put the website of the UBI advocates. We have links that can be put up on any website to this map, which shows currently over 200 supposed networks or institutions supporting UBI. There's some weeding out to be done. We found some things that don't quite fit, some individuals, which is not what we're interested in here. We're not interested in individuals, but this is a map of organizations.
Dear Peter, would you like me to share the screen, or will you share the screen?
Yeah, why don't we share the screen? Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
Okay.
And yeah, you go ahead and share it. And this map has two versions. One is where every institution has a green marker, and if you click on it, you'll see the data about that, including its purpose, its name, its email address, and website. And there's a second version called clustered, which is a little less, doesn't cover up the map quite so heavily, but if you move in on a cluster, then it opens up just groups, and so you can see how many are in a certain area of the world, like in Europe or Germany or wherever. But it's just a tool for people to contact each other and find other organizations if they're not aware of them already. And it's incomplete. It's a process that we know of institutions that are not in there, but Elena may be interested to see that there are a number in Russia and Georgia and Ukraine, and we're missing Poland, we're missing Latvia, but we know there's possibilities there. So and we're very weak on sub-Saharan Africa. In fact, North Africa, we have no one. We don't have anything in North Africa yet. So the project consists of cleaning up the institutions that are in there already, and then click on one of them, Ali, so it shows the data. Where was I? Yeah, we were trying to clean up, make sure that we get real organizations that are actually working, number one, and number two, to expand the list as much as possible. There are some other maps that are interesting that we should also probably include on the page, and there's a map of UBI experiments, past, present, and future, that the Basic Income Lab at Stanford has done. There's some other ones of interest. I think that's one of the most interesting of them. Anyway, if you know of an organization, those of you who are new to UBI Advocates, there's a link on Ali's page there that where you can basically send them that link, and they can fill in a Google survey which provides the data, which then Ali puts into a spreadsheet and sends to me, and then I upload it to this Easy Map Maker. It's a software that service I've subscribed to because I have several other organizations that I do maps for as part of my participation in them. So I pay for this once, and I can do a virtually unlimited number of maps. So. The other thing what I wanted to say, there was something else that, if something else comes to me, I'll get it later.
Okay, thank you very much, Peter. In the meantime, I was checking the chat.
I know what I wanted to say. I mean,
Please.
in terms of relationships, I really think that the link to environmental organizations, I mean, the organization that I am, the network that I'm the coordinator for, the Sufficiency for Sustainability Network, its whole purpose is innovation for sufficiency and sustainability. And sufficiency means public policy that expresses sufficiency as UBI, enough for everybody, basic needs. So, and we don't believe that you can have political, economic, social, and ecological stability without getting sufficiency for all, because the idea that somehow the poor people don't need a little bit more, so that, and rich, you can't ask them to restrict their consumption if they haven't even met basic needs. If the basic needs of everybody are met, then we can concentrate on the degrowth questions and ecological soundness, which feeds back into political stability as well. So that's a long discussion, but sufficiency for sustainability, sufficiency number 4, sustainability, I'll put the link in the thing. It makes this all very explicit, and we invite people to become associates if they want of this organization.
Dear Peter, maybe I missed from your words, but I would like to say one thing. Dear friends, I will put into the chat box the link regarding how you can join with your network to the map. And also you will receive, and it is also available in the web pages, you will receive the code. So if you like, you can have this code and put into your own web page, and you can use it there too. So I will share the link of the Google form regarding the global map of UBI networks at the chat box in a few minutes. Thank you very much, Peter. Dear Claudia.
Yes, one last point I wanted to point out regarding topics that people are interested in, but that could be brought back to a UBI interest, would be people who are interested in a democracy in a very larger sense, direct democracy, and participatory democracy are starting to be picking up right now quite a bit. If people only would know that if they have time, because of UBI, let's hope. So if they would have time, then they would be able to get involved and take part, an active part in democracy, and not just be voting for people once every 2 years and being stuck with them the rest of the time. So I think the crowd being interested in direct democracy and participatory democracy could easily be brought into the UBI crowd interest.
Thank you very much, Claudia. Maybe Sheila would like to say a few words. They were very active during the last few months. Dear Sheila.
I've been very inactive the last few days, but I'm always inspired by Gerda and others around the world. One of the things that I would mention that we were scrambling, excuse me, that we were scrambling to do last week was put together a combined application for funding to our federal government for a project that directly links environmental and basic income goals. So it's going into a climate action fund, and if it works, we will get some considerable money. And even the more strictly climate-oriented people who have put their own applications in, those who have seen this one think it's really good and really interesting. I mean, it's just a really different take on things. And it's basically saying that what environmentalists are trying to do is get people to change. And you can't change when people are anxious and insecure, and every risk that you take means you just fall apart. So they're saying that the basic income then can be either something that enhances environmental goals or will be almost a fatal flaw in trying to achieve them if those links aren't made. So yeah, we all have our fingers crossed for that one. I would also say too, it's interesting to hear how people come to this movement. And in terms of youth, I think when I was 17, I knew everything. And like, not just, I mean, I wasn't worried about my own career. I knew how I was going to save the world kind of thing. So I think building on that comes from young people. But also recently had a very interesting conversation with the policy advisor to our Minister for Seniors and trying to make the seniors youth link. We have in Canada and in many other places around the world, like the wealthiest cohort of seniors that the world has ever seen. And a lot of them don't realize how much the world has changed, and that what young people are facing now is not anything like what we as older people had. So bringing those two kind of movements together is important in Canada, especially because seniors vote big time. The other major link that's important, and my sort of, a lot of my origins into basic income come from the racial justice side of things, and following civil rights movements and stuff when I was younger. So I think there's some cool links potentially that can be made across sort of Black and people of color and entertainers and sports figures who have huge clout and democracy. I mean, it all kind of weaves together, but I think for Canada in particular, because of historical treatment of Indigenous peoples and then sort of, you know, more later revelations that we actually do have anti-Black racism in this country too, that's bigger than we thought. Those things are really important motivators for politicians in Canada. So that's it from me. But this is, I think about this stuff all the time.
Oh, thank you very much, Sheila. Any other friends who would like to contribute? I would like to say a few words. Maybe it can trigger some other ideas too. We are trying to organize something in Turkey. You know, there are too many societies who are trying to give scholarships to youth, especially to girls, and also who are fighting with poverty or who are doing philanthropic activities or women movement, etc. What now we are trying to do is we are trying to prepare very short, maybe a half-page text, how UBI can introduce an added value to their efforts. I mean, instead of trying to give scholarship to limited number of small girls or boys, I mean students, maybe UBI might be a much widespread solution, or all the philanthropic activities, all the anti-poverty movements, etc. If they are sincere with their efforts, then they should support UBI. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to prepare a very short few sentences regarding, I mean, it includes some arguments about why they should support UBI, and then we are trying to gain them. And maybe I mentioned during our last meeting, similar to the map, which Peter mentioned, you know, at the moment we have 55 or more than 55 countries and more than 212 networks, but these are all for UBI networks or for UBI institutions, academies, or political parties or movements, whatever. But what we are trying to do in Turkey is that we are trying to gather the societies who are for the discussion of UBI. I mean, they don't have to support UBI, but they would like to, how I can say, contribute to the discussions. So we will have a new map only for the networks or societies who would like to discuss UBI issue. And we hope to have too many societies who are working for giving scholarships to the students or who are anti-poverty networks, etc. Thank you very much. How we can go? Oh, there are hands here. Okay, dear Ebru, please.
Thank you so much, Ali, for this very good meeting, actually, because I didn't think that it would be so fruitful. And upon what you said recently, we as Istanbul Blockchain Women is also a NGO which have been formed as an association very recently. We are aiming also to empower women in specifically in blockchain technology, but not limited with that. We are also aiming to give scholarships for young girls. We have also started a campaign very recently with another blockchain solution, a local blockchain solution, and gave 2 scholarships. So we have a founding members meeting tonight, and I was just planning to raise this issue in this meeting as an agenda. So I will let you know what we can do together, maybe for our in our country. Maybe we can do some good things together, because we have the same objective and mission. So, and there are very good ideas coming up. Thank you for all the participants here. And that's all from me. I wish to give a lot more ideas in the next meetings, in the following meetings. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ebru. And also thanks to Elena. Through her, we had the chance to hear you. Dear Ward, please. Dear Ward Smith, please unmute yourself.
See me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm unmuted. There we go.
Please.
All right. So I just want to have a quick thought about the implementation of it, of UBI, and a quick and easy way to get the ball rolling. As they've done in Korea, they've provided debit cards to individuals to use a certain way within their community. And I think the debit card, this is an idea. I think we're in the brainstorm session now. So imagine if every citizen receives the government debit card, and now the back end policies and all the various reasons for having this is discussed after. Once a government is able to provide a centralized banking system through their tax system where you can spend the money, the back end policy, we live in a new age where this is how we spend our money, with debit cards for the most part. Beyond that, the idea that UBI enters into the pockets of every individual, regardless of their political affiliation. They have this physical item that is like, okay, I can go out and spend this money. However, it's a government-based banking in and out. The policies can be debated afterwards. And really, that's the starting place for me, is to provide every citizen with, here is the version of the cash I will receive. I can go use it however I want. So a centralized government bank account where you're receiving money from the government is, I think that's a good starting point. I'll expand on that idea later, but that's really my contribution at this point as a starting place. That's my brainstorm idea. Carry on.
Thank you very much, Ward. Thank you for your contributions. Dear Gerdo.
Yes, I wanted to tell you about what we are doing here, because in Iceland, our grant system, the grant system where people have to apply for a grant for all kind of ideas, for new concepts or whatever, and they were, they are trying to upgrade or asking for what people think about that, what needed to be upgraded, and we sent a suggestion to skip every basic grant. They just let it fall, and instead of the basic grants, because they always have a period where you can apply, before 15th or blah blah, you have to give in your apply for something. I said, give it free. You can apply whenever something comes in your head that you really want to do, and everybody who applies for a grant for a new idea, their grant will be UBI for a period of time, for a year, like a pilot. We can look at it as a confirmation pilot that UBI does pay off in prosperity and to do things. So all these people who are applying to do things, they only a fraction of those people get the grant. But if they said, okay, we want to do that, we give everybody who wants to do something a UBI to prove that they are serious and they can do it. And then at any time during the process of this new project, and they run out of money, but they can prove the success of where they are heading with the project, they can apply for continuous UBI for that. And that will be like a test, or like I said, no pilot. You don't make a pilot for hungry people and say, would you stop being hungry if you get something to eat? We don't have to have a pilot for it. We know it helps to eat if you're hungry. Pilot UBI is the same. So we should really, I think it's, I'm waiting for the answer from our government about this UBI grant. But I think it would be a very good learning or good confirmation method. So I'm just distributing my ideas here.
Thank you very much, Gerdo. I would like to say a few words about your contribution, but maybe other friends would like to contribute first. Peter?
Yeah, well, the whole idea of central bank digital money for UBI is very much part of the discussion and research. There's all kinds of stuff on this. In fact, there was a seminar in I think I mentioned it last time, but in the UK last week in was it not Leeds, anywhere somewhere in the north, and with support from the University of Bath, And some of the proponents of it in the UK, which are very active, I mean, I think positive money is one of them too, but there are all movements all over the world in favor of digital money for basic income. And it's this whole arguments about modern monetary theory, MMT, are very much related to it. So it's a very well-developed area, and you can easily link into this.
Yes, I can definitely also support this, Peter. For the last months in UK, we had several government related events, and Wales have a very big structure. I can also share some links later on. We had a government structure about UBI, actually. And that was a very interesting meeting, and because it was actually government meeting, it's all documented word by word. You can watch it online. I can share links as well. And it's
there was a parliamentary,
yes,
the Minister of Social Security or whatever, and then all the proponents and opponents were
exactly,
up there.
Exactly, yes. So everyone can watch it. It's absolutely brilliant. And the beauty of cryptocurrencies, blockchain technologies, CBDC as well, that actually it can be implemented on the phones. I agree with Ward that in certain countries, cards can be applied, but unfortunately we have 1.7 billion of unbanked population. And this is the people whom we actually need to reach first. And because people who don't have bank account, it means they don't have means to have bank account, whether they're homeless people, whether they are in different countries where bank is not in their city or 200 kilometers away, and so on. But apparently everyone, even unbanked people, have at least one telephone, and through the telephone UBI can be implemented with the blockchain technology. Yes.
Thank you very much, Elena. Peter, would you like to add anything?
No, I was just saying that the transfers of funds through phones are well developed in Kenya and some other African countries. The M-Pesa system, it was designed for the unbanked, and virtually everybody has a cell phone, and you can just fill it up at a local kiosk or something. But the government could also make transfer payments that way.
Thank you, Peter. Dear Hortense, would you like to contribute? Please unmute yourself.
I did now. Hello, my name is Hortense. I'm from Romania, Bucharest. I'm not speaking very well English because I don't have to with whom to speak in English. So sorry for my ungood English. I'm glad that here was put in the in discussion the idea that UBI is a human right, because I feel so, and I promote here in Romania UBI only as a human right. I don't perceive UBI as a social aid. We already have social aid. UBI is not a social aid. And because here was talk about political field. Political field is built under above duality. UBI has a great potential to unite humanity, and political field is just divide us. is not a way to provide UBI. Because I know in this system we all built, it is a way to have a political will to implement UBI. But I think that are better ways to implement, such as legal field, our own constitution in each country. Besides, I feel that you can finance UBI by natural resources, which or global wealth. We can give to the people this dividend from the global wealth. I think we all have the natural resources to share with all of us. And one more thing about, because I said that I perceive UBI as a human right, we must understand each of us what life is, what human life is. If we go only on economic issue, we will not touch what human life is. And for that, we must understand and promote, educate people about what human life is, and to choose life, not death. Because I always, I'm in this moment from 7 years ago. I found out about UBI in 2013 when I signed a petition, and then I go in the streets promoting basic income 2013 EU. It was my first volunteer work, which bring me so much joy, and at the same time I was feel the human thinking, and I was receive a great gift about how people used to think, and we must change this kind of thinking. But the problem which I was become aware is that many people don't know that they are thoughts. They have thoughts and they change the thoughts so they can change the reality. Many of them change and try to change the outside world. They never try to change the inside world. The outside world is our reflection of inside world. We don't have to change outside world. We have to change inside world. And for that, we need to understand what life is, what human life is, and to promote UBI as a human right. Thank you.
Thank you, Hortense. Thank you for your contributions. Oh, dear Eduardo, please, Eduardo, welcome.
How are you? Good afternoon to everyone. Ali Mutra, I have some news from São Paulo, Brazil. Last week, on Tuesday, first votation, Thursday, second votation, 48-2, it was approved that a emergency basic income will be provided in the next 3 months, 100 reais per month, about $18 per month, to all persons that participate in or that are beneficiaries of the Bolsa Família program. In São Paulo, there are about 480,000 families, around 1,300,000 people who will receive for 3 months an emergency basic income, and this was approved by practically all parties, and it was a proposal that I've made to because of the pandemic of the coronavirus. And so this will be an additional financial help for those who are among the poorest in the city of São Paulo. So just to tell you that one more step towards the universal basic income, still a small step, but on the way to for us to have the unconditional basic income one in Brazil, as it is already said in a law that was approved 16 years ago, to go step by step. So this is just one more step. Thank you very much, Ali Mutlu.
Thank you, Eduardo. Eduardo, before you stop, may I ask a small question? Do you know whether the Francisco meetings will be held or not?
If perhaps, what's the question? If the
do you know whether the Francisco meetings will be held or not?
The Francisco meeting, I believe that there will be a virtual meeting 18 to 20 November, but I need to confirm the news. But around November 20, there will be a virtual meeting, not a presential meeting. This was postponed for the next year.
Thank you very much, Eduardo. Dear friends, look, please look, word is yours.
Yes, just to participate in the brainstorming here. I talked something that I want to say to all the people like me who lives elsewhere than in Europe. One of the greatest things we can do now, I think, is make sure that the people living in our country who have kept their European citizenship, whatever it is, worldwide Implement for the World initiative. That's a suggestion that I would make to all of us who don't live in Europe. That's it.
Dear Luke, thank you very much. Maybe it was something wrong with my line, or did everybody hear Luke? I think completely. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Luke. Maybe Reynard would like to say something. He's here. Okay, he's here. Dear Reynard. Dear Reynard. Okay, here. Please.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you want me to say about.
The chat box. In the chat box, you have some comments. Maybe you would like to say to all of us too.
Yeah, I just made the comment because I heard that poor people have access to phones, and as far as I know, the poor people I meet, the really poor people I meet in Leeds, do not have access to cell phones or smartphones. So I don't think, if we talk about the practical implementation, I think it's either to give a cash card to everybody or to give a cell phone to everybody for free. But I don't think we can expect, and also when I worked in Africa, in remote areas, I don't think everybody, in the cities, many have or all have a cell phone, but not everybody has got a cell phone. So I think I just wanted to point out that that is not my experience of reality. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reynard. Sabine would like to add something, I guess. Dear Sabine?
I just want to say thank you to Eduardo to tell us the very good news. This is very fantastic. Thank you for your work in Brazil. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabine. Dear Paul is with us. Dear Paul, would you like to say anything regarding our discussion? Paul Harnett? Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Reinhard, times change very quickly. The penetration rates of mobile phones in Africa is absolutely huge. And that is not my experience. And I've worked extensively in Africa as well. It varies country to country, that's true. And that's the reason why the biggest experiment started in Kenya, because M-Pesa is in Kenya and the coverage of M-Pesa is, whoa, I don't know, 80, 90% or whatever. But you can also overcome this hurdle by saying that maybe the first payment you don't get. The first payment pays for your mobile phone and that's it. Or it's subsidized or whatever. There are very easy solutions to this, I think. So that's all I would have said about that. Thanks, Ali.
Thank you, Paul. Dear Elena? Elena, please.
Yes, Ali. I wanted to say that another guest of mine arrived. I can see Ravi here. And Ravi is a very, very knowledgeable person in several entities, and he is the chairman of several organizations. So maybe we can give him the option to speak and introduce himself. Ravi, good afternoon. We cannot hear you yet.
Yes, thank you, Elena, for inviting me to this forum. And my apologies for joining late, so I'm not yet ready to contribute. I want to hear from all the other knowledgeable folks. I am based in New York, and among other things, I'm part one on the advisory board of Blockchain for Social Impact, which is a nonprofit based here in New York, focused on using blockchain, mainly Ethereum-based solutions for solving different problems around, be it supply chain, around climate change, around decentralized finance, including actually universal basic income, and other elements where we can use that technology. And so I think we've had the opportunity to bring some interesting solutions that have occurred at a local level in different parts of the world, and as well as bring the community of hackers and developers who, or at least presenting solutions using blockchain for distribution of, for finance purposes and for distribution of funds to local populations in isolated areas. And so the challenge I've seen with a lot of these solutions so far, and if you'll give me a moment while the rest of you talk, I'll actually bring a few examples and I'll put it in the chat. But a lot of those solutions are still very much in the inception stages. So you have hackers who've developed maybe a very specific solution just for addressing disaster victims in a certain region in Africa, and they've tried it as a pilot, and then the solution unfortunately kind of stagnates in that level, and we're able to provide some publicity, and we bring it maybe to even UN organizations that we have relationships with here in New York. But let me share a few of those if you give me like another 20, 30 minutes. And then I think it'll be interesting just to get everyone's feedback and then see which of these solutions can we build on and take to the next level, and where is blockchain, given its ability to intersect with kind of the world of self-sovereign identity. So for folks who may or may not have a mobile, and I heard that part of the conversation, and may or not even have identity, traditional identity elements, but how we can help them with the self-sovereign identity component, and then obviously use that as a mechanism to address potentially with its distribution of disaster funds, or obviously the topic here at hand, more regular income to allow them to more effectively participate in our economic systems. Another organization that I'm involved with, which is really more of an intersection and not really directed to this space, but when we talk about universal basic income, I think in my eyes, a lot of the themes are around how do we have folks integrate more effectively into the economy and also ensure they're taken care of. So I'm involved with a firm called Connexio, which actually focuses on training migrants and refugees, in this case, mainly in technical skill sets, so they're able to then obviously be employable. So I think that's the next level, obviously beyond food and housing and food and shelter, is the next stage is obviously education, so folks are able to then contribute. So there, I think, numerous intersection points that we should all be cognizant of as well. So again, thank you for allowing me to introduce myself, and thank you, Elena.
Thank you, Elena. Thank you, Ravi. Dear Ravi, I understand that you have a presentation of 20 minutes or something like this you mentioned in your talk. If you like, in one of the future meetings, we can allocate time for this, and we would like to hear about this. These discussions are being held maybe more than 3-4 years, but it might be interesting. If you kindly agree, we would like, maybe we can put into the agenda, and I'm sure it will be beneficial to our efforts.
Yeah, I'm happy to do a 20-minute presentation. I do want to give transparency. Elena and I spoke and met over the last few months, and she invited me late last night to this. So I only really found out, unfortunately, this morning. So I'm here to learn, and I'm happy to prepare and contribute more formally at the next meeting. Yes, thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you. Dear Reynald, please. Dear Reynald, please unmute yourself.
I just want to give one comment about the people to reach. I mean, if you talk about 80 or 90%, there are 10% who haven't got a phone, and these are often the poorest of the poor, and we need to think how to reach them if you talk about implementation of a sort of a basic income. I mean, that's what I mean when I talk to people in Leeds who live in the street. Very rarely I've found them to own a cell phone or can run a cell phone. Regarding blockchain, I just wanted to make 2 comments, and if there is a presentation, I would be interested in the environmental impact, because I read and told that blockchain has a considerable, if it's used, environmental energy impact, and I would like to find out more. And second, that it's also used for criminal activities and tax evasion. So I would like to know more how this can be regulated or prevented. So if there is a future discussion, so I would like to find out about these, how they can be addressed. Thank you.
You may be thinking about Bitcoin rather than blockchain technology itself, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, Peter, you're not wrong. In some ways, actually, blockchain can be used by unregulated and very not honest people, but we have regulated companies, and as I said before, Intercoin is a US-based regulated company by SSI and SSE, sorry. And we also have, I can invite CEO of this company to give a presentation as well, to explain exactly the answers what Reynald has for all these questions. Because yes, there is among the population, there is several beliefs that blockchain can be hurtful for the environment, but it's the same, like we have honest people and dishonest people, so the same is in the blockchain.
Because I mean, there's no mining. Blockchain doesn't involve this mining process like Bitcoin, correct? Or am I'm not an expert in it.
Yeah, so
it depends.
I think I want to segregate blockchain from Bitcoin. So
yes.
Bitcoin is there as an interesting cryptocurrency, and you have to obviously use a lot of compute power to add blocks to that particular Bitcoin, and that's fine. There are people doing that, and they're consuming a lot of compute power. And blockchain as a technology at the most simplest level is the use of the idea of a ledger stored in different locations. And at one point I tried to explain it to my children in middle school here in New Jersey. So if you go to a hotel, they have a register of all the guests in the hotel, back when we all used to be able to go to hotels more freely. So, but if that ledger, instead of just being in the hotel, if everyone had their own copy of it, then
yeah.
And they're able to use today's technology to make sure it stays in sync with each other and it stays accurate, then there is an opportunity there, I think, to have a different paradigm for security and a different paradigm for where the information is stored. And I think this matters a lot for one theme of identity. So without going too far off topic, identity is something, frankly, for most of us in the real world, it is not owned by us. The state of New Jersey owns my identity, as you know, because I live in New Jersey, or the United States government, or whatever the case may be. But the idea of a self-sovereign identity, which folks who don't have their own identities today, that can allow people to integrate more effectively into the financial systems and more efficiently obtain access to funds that are sent to them directly, because we can use those systems to do that. Right now, obviously, a lot of the challenges on universal basic income or just income distribution, even for welfare schemes, is there's waste in the middle, and then there's inefficiencies, and there's obviously corruption as well. So I think, as Elena and others have said, corruption is never going to go away. Humans, good behavior and bad behavior is never going to go away. But there are new technologies that allow us to be a little bit more efficient in terms of how we make those things happen.
Yeah, what I meant was with regard to blockchain, I mean to Bitcoin, the mining business is what is so computer and data center intensive and use up all that energy. The blockchain itself is not so energy intensive, I believe. Please continue.
Right, so a lot of the work that we do at Blockchain for Social Impact is based on Ethereum, which is the kind of the open blockchain the blockchain ledger that a lot of us use, and people have built several other blockchain ledgers on top of Ethereum. And yes, then the topic there is less mining and more around how do you actually get the ledger to work. There are also things around Bitcoin has, I don't want to get too technical, there's something called proof of work, where you actually have to mine and add that block to the Bitcoin ledger, and that's why it takes so, that's why it's so compute intensive. But there are other ways of managing consensus in the blockchain. You don't have to have the mining at all. And so, no, we can build these systems without those type of mining requirements in place. Absolutely, and that's already been done, frankly. And yes, most of it is hype, I agree. But there are some interesting pilots that have sorted through the hype. It's kind of like the internet hype in 2000. Eventually, there were a lot of wonderful ideas that came out of it that changed our lives. And I think that's absolutely the case today. Underneath all the hype, there are some interesting ideas.
Dear friends, Reinhard had to leave because he had to attend to another meeting, as far as I know. He also mentioned this in the chat box. Maybe regarding this issue, we should have a separate session or separate sessions even, maybe more than one session. And maybe we should start from the very fundamentals, because to follow the communication, we need some infrastructural knowledge, I guess. So I think we need such, maybe even more than one, several sessions regarding this issue.
I can share some links for the publication on Intercoin website from the elementary level. What is it blockchain and why we are building on a blockchain for the UBI? Because this is the main question for the community here. I understand our focus is to deliver UBI, and we can see that UBI deliverable on a blockchain, it's much cheaper for the government to use it. And like, for example, in the US, our pilot, it cost only 10 million for the government to run the UBI for all city. can you imagine, like, it's like on a government level, 10 million, it's nothing. It's the amount what is anyone can do, but on a regular banking system, it costs like millions, hundreds millions on a regular banking system. And that's the reason why we begin to look at the blockchain and CBDC structure for the UBI.
Okay, thank you very much, Ella. It seems that we will have a long discussions. We will have long discussions regarding this issue. Any other friends who would? Thank you. Any other friends who would like to contribute to our labor of today? I'm just trying to check. Dear Valeria is here. Dear Valeria, Dr. Valeria from Slovenia, Valeria Korosec. Okay, I know that you are performing very well in ECI UBI campaign, and maybe you would like to say a few issues, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, actually, I don't know what to tell you. We all work how much we can, and no one knows what the other people do. So in my group of people, like 20 of them, everyone is convinced he did 1,000 signatures. You know, that's not true. But anyone who is performing their work is very proud of themselves. We are mainly work, our work is done on Facebook only. We don't have enough young people to go to other apps like Snapchat and Instagram. I'm inquiring around how to do it, but I don't know how. Well, last night I just put some notice and question to a secondary school young man and ask him if he can share that among the young people on his school and so on. So we are doing a lot of work. I believe we are quite shameless, I have to say. What I mean is that we are putting this link for signatures on Twitter accounts, on our friends' sites. We are not very polite what we are doing. We are sharing everywhere where we can. And well, we hope they will forgive us afterwards when we reach 100 quota. Well, that's mainly all. I mean, I don't know what to say.
Thank you very much, Valeria. Any other friends who would like to contribute or share his or her ideas? Robin, would you like to say anything about the ECI campaign in general?
Yeah, we are a month away from the start now, and 2 days, and it's not so going so fast as we would like. It's more or less the same velocity as in 2013, and I can show a screen for the signatures collection. You can see it. It's I can explain this. Slovenia is on top. It has 67% of the target, or the threshold. The threshold is a way of counting how much the minimum have to be for one country. But the minimum for one country is not enough. If every country in the EU has the minimum, we're just on the half of the signatures, like the 4,497. So we have, for having 1 million signatures, we need twice as much as this. So this is 56% of the threshold, but only 37.8% of the target, and it's equally divided target for all countries. So that if we have 7 countries, the top 7 countries all in green, all have found the threshold, then it's the first thing that makes an ECI valid. And there has to be a second thing, that is to get 1,000 signatures. So it doesn't matter if Germany maybe has 86,000 inhabitants. So if 1 million Germans sign, and there are 6 other countries who have 100% here, then we have met the million. But it's a difficult job. So we are doing a lot of work on the Facebook and Twitter and sharing things, but we need the youth. And it was already said by, I don't know who said it, but Fridays for Future, we talked about someone to share our knowledge about the ECIs. And we need more youth, but in our team, there are a lot of people with, let me say, gray hair. They're older than the youth, and we really have to need youth. We need TikTok people with dances for UBI, and we need Snapchat people with crazy heads for UBI, and because it's for the youth doesn't really understand that it's their future, that we are doing this work for their future. Because I am in favor of UBI for 25 years now, and I cannot have another 25 years, then I will never have a UBI. So it's really for the youth. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robin. I am trying to see whether every friend had the chance to contribute. Dear Eric is here. Eric, would you like to say anything? Please unmute yourself, Eric.
Hello, everybody. I was going to ask Peter Knight, is his email address still available, or has it changed? Because I tried to contact him. Is your address still available, your email address? There is something with sustainability in that. Is it still available? Is it still valid?
Yes, Peter, it's sufficiencyforsustainability.org. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, but okay, because I couldn't reach you. Yes, and by the way, our last meeting. Thank you very much for mentioning Kornai Janos. In the last run, you mentioned him. I got the name at the end. You mentioned him. Yes. Thank you very much for mentioning him. By the way, he is 92 years old at the moment. He is 92. So we had 2 years ago when he became 90. We had a celebration.
Or something.
Yes,
well, I was on the World Bank's first economic mission to Hungary, and I'm a great enthusiastic for Janos.
Okay. Concerning the collection of signatures, I saw Hungary is not doing too bad. So I was involved in 2013. I was very much involved, not so much anymore. As Robin said, we are getting older. So, but Hungary, I hope this time will reach their target. because yes, in 2013 we missed by only 2,000 signatures. I hope this time we will reach the target at least. That's all I want to say at the moment.
Thank you, Eric. Valeria would like to add something, I guess. Dear Valeria.
Yes, if I may, I mean, I would like to tell you something about a very important context. Maybe you know that the person who signed for Slovenia to enter ECUBI is a young guy from Pirates, a political party. And at the beginning, there was a problem because people who were always for basic income didn't want to sign when political party was on the board. So I called political party Pirates personally, and I asked them to back up. I mean, not to back up, to hide themselves, not to interfere. Let UBI activists from the last time do their work, and they can give medals themselves afterwards. So, well, political party is not interfering anymore. I have also to say that it's a big difference comparing 7 years ago. We had big newspaper, TV shows. I mean, we had so much support compared to now when we don't have any support. Even our friend journalists are in a way too afraid to write about basic income. It's only COVID, and our prime minister. So thank God to Facebook, really, I mean it. Oh, it's a funny story, but if I may so. You know the Tour de France and our bicycles, Primoz Roglic? I don't know how many of you look at it. Well, anyway, you see, our cyclist, Roglic, was the first one all the way, and at the end, he was the only second one. The same happened to Slovenia in first ECUBI. And our activists are really anxious to be the first one. We don't want to be the first all the way and then lose to be the second. This is our little story. It's context is the fun we have in our group when we just compete to be the first. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Valeria. Is there any other friend who would like to contribute? If not, I would like to say a few things. The first thing is regarding the map. One second. Regarding the map. Okay, here. So, okay, regarding the map, there's a Google form. In fact, I shared the link of this Google form in the chat box. If your network would like to participate in this map, very easily fill in this form, and then we are making the necessary arrangements. And also here in the Google form page at the beginning, you can see here the codes provided by dear Peter. If you would like to embed to your web page, you can simply cut and paste this into your web page, and you can continue. This was the first thing I would like to say. Second thing is regarding the ECI UBI campaign. We started to hold best practices in UBI advocacy meetings. And the last one was, by Michelle Gianella from Italy. It was, the topic was social media campaigning. But the next one is, I think, very interesting. Next one is by our dear friend Enno Schmidt. In fact, I shared the link of this meeting too, and his topic will be lessons learned from Swiss referendum for UBI. And you know Enno Schmidt, most probably many of you know him very well. And he will make this presentation on when? November 16th, I guess. Third Monday of November. I will find and share it too. It's not written here. Okay, third Monday of November, he will make a speech on on lessons learned from Swiss referendum for UBI. Okay, any other friends who would like to contribute or say other things? I'm just checking. Did everybody? Oh, we have friends from China. Dear Fruity, would you like to say anything? Dear Fruity. Okay, Olaf is here. Dear Olaf, would you like to say anything? Okay. Okay, Olaf is.
Much.
Thank you.
Sorry, I missed out on that. I have a little question because we in the Netzwerkgrundeinkommen, the German network basic income, we detected a so-called Mayor's network in the US. And there are several people here from the US, and I would like to ask them whether they have ever heard about this, because if so, we would like to assemble something like that in Europe too. So this is called Mayor's Initiative for a Guaranteed Income, and among the is are the mayors of Philadelphia and Los Angeles, as far as I recall. So perhaps one or two of our collaborators here in the US might tell me about whether in the US this is popular or we only found out about this on the internet.
Sure, it is. There's a website for it, and there are something like 25 different mayors involved, or cities. It includes kind of Oakland, it's led by the mayor of Stockton. It was a small town in California that went bankrupt and became famous for that. And Michael Bloomberg gave him a fellowship to a Harvard program, and so he didn't support Yang. He supported Bloomberg in the primaries, but yeah, he's the leader of the thing. But I'll tell you, I'll just read you quickly a list of the cities, and you can get them off their site, which I'll also put in the chat. Tacoma, Washington; Gainesville, Florida; Oakland, California; Richmond, Virginia; Shreveport, Louisiana; Madison, Wisconsin; Paterson, New Jersey; Ithaca, New York; Mount Vernon, New York; Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania; Holyoke, Mass; Philadelphia; Jackson, Mississippi; Los Angeles, California; Long Beach, California; Hudson, New York; St. Paul, Minnesota; Seattle, Washington; Providence, Rhode Island; Atlanta, Georgia; Compton, California; New Orleans, Louisiana; Stockton, California, of course. Well, and Columbia, South Carolina. There are quite a few.
Yeah, I think it's getting a lot more attention now after the pandemic and after the attempts at coronavirus payments that did go out. So then that's increasing a lot of attention on the idea of this needing to be kind of a regular stream of income for those,
yes.
populations.
The two factors that had the biggest influence were Yang's candidacy in the primaries and the pandemic.
Just to pipe in here, Income Movement's been in communication with Mayors for Guaranteed Income a little bit, and just as Peter was saying, all these cities are taking, all these mayors are taking part in it and have signed up to be a part of it. They are doing pilots. The whole city is not receiving a guaranteed income. Just for clarification for outside people, they're working on pilots. So Compton is starting their pilot most recently. They're giving anywhere from $300 to $600 to a number of people. Things like that are being implemented from the funds from Mayors for Guaranteed Income. And they're a great group working with not only Income Movement, but Economic Security Project and getting things, getting their numbers up. They like keep adding new ones all the time. So that's really great. And continue to launch pilots.
Dear friends, I have a question regarding these mayors. Do they have a common UBI understanding or not? Peter or Kimberly?
I can answer to this.
So I think they're very focused on pandemic relief and it's basic income, mayors for a guaranteed income, not necessarily universal. So their concept is not in a universal manner as far as the program itself and what they're pushing, but all of these mayors are really wanting to create more economic stability for their communities.
Okay, Elena, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I can add. I can agree as well with Kimberly. They trying to search for the ways right now, and as I said, like with Intercoin, they are doing one pilot in one city, and potentially it can be in all 25 cities as long as economics will work out. But they don't have the mutual vision, like how it should look, because some cities saying that it should be on a different level and so on. So it's not there yet.
That's for sure, and I put the URL of their organization. You can look at the website. The other thing that's active is the Humanity Forward movement, which is candidates for offices that are willing to support UBI as it's understood by Andrew Yang as the freedom dividend, which is universal. That organization to which I contribute, and there are lots of contributors, is not only providing some small emergency UBIs, but it's also putting money into the campaigns of the candidates that have adopted the program for legislative offices at the federal and state levels.
Yeah, that's right. And Humanity Forward has been coming out with a lot more endorsements lately. I think they're from what I see is that I'm not in most of those rooms making those decisions. I do volunteer with them, but not in that capacity. They are, from what I gather, it just seems like they're trying to amass a number of people who are for at least pandemic relief. Not all of the candidates that they're endorsing are for, have put UBI on their platform as a full on, as we understand it, you and I here in this room. So just to be really conscious of that, but it's moving the needle. It's getting all of these people to be in the same club, so to speak, so that as we move forward, we can continue to move the needle more with these people and other people that they surround themselves with and their communities.
Thank you very much.
Peter, you're muted.
Finally ask is what is the reaction of the media towards it? Because as one colleague of ours just said, a befriended journalist even said he is not very keen on reporting because there's COVID and nothing else. So do they have any publicity about this? Do they have media attention? And does the public know about this, or is it more for us, for you to know because you're in income?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And yes, the media is covering all these, many of these things. I see articles all the time coming out about these pilots that are being launched and things about mayors for guaranteed income. I'm happy to send some of those along to the right place if you guys want to see some of them.
Please do send it to the listserv. And in addition, you should know that Kamala Harris, who's the vice presidential candidate, probable vice president, is behind a bill for a 6-month emergency, $2,000 a month. Not quite UBI, but along the same lines as the previous distribution, which was to I don't know, below $150,000 or something. You'll know better, Kimberly. I'm in Brazil. I don't remember the details.
Yeah, it's $2,000 a month, and yeah, she's totally on board with pandemic cash relief, which is great. And Andrew Yang has been, I think I know he is. He's campaigning for Biden. He's also been advising him in the capacity of entrepreneurship and moving the labor force forward during the campaign at this time. So hopefully hopefully those conversations are moving the needle within the presidential race as well.
We're hoping that Andrew is going to have a position in the administration somewhere in there. He's being cagey. Yeah. He's had discussions, let's put it that way.
Yeah, we're crossing our fingers. He keeps hinting.
Actually, Andrew Yang going with UBI already for several years, and he was one of the people for whom Intercoin built the campaign for his presidential election. So we are in contact with him, and it's not only because of COVID. His understanding of UBI is exactly how we understand it here.
Yes, that is correct. And he is definitely a universal basic income advocate, 100%. Yeah.
Thank you very much, dear friends. Dear Ward is raising his hand, but dear Ward, let me say a few words about this last discussion too. Regarding the municipalities, I think, I mean, to tell the truth, I don't believe that municipalities can reach to such a target because it requires a legislative power. So they cannot introduce additional taxes, additional custom regulations or other things, etc., etc. So these are mostly for the publicity of the mayors, my understanding. I mean, not really for introducing a UBI for the people. And but it is good from the public awareness point of view. It's okay, but a mayorship cannot handle such a project or realize such a project. This is my thought.
That is correct. So in essence, this program is one that is massing up advocates and providing space for pilots to be conducted within those cities. And those partnerships to be built up.
Thank you very much, Kimberly. Dear Ward, please unmute yourself.
Unmute. There I am. All right. I just want to final for me is I do think it's time to get beyond the philosophy of UBI. We're all agreeing here. We're in the we're all preaching to the choir. The philosophy is set. I think it's time to get granular and discuss how it's going to interoperate with the tax system, the distribution, the implementation. It's close. It's darn close. Worldwide, it's darn close. And so it's time to start saying, okay, exactly how. And I'm not an accountant. I'm a carpenter, for crying out loud. I don't know how to implement this thing perfectly, but it is time to get granular so that the average citizen can say, okay, I can get behind that shit. And this is working. It makes sense from a tax perspective, from a political perspective. It's time to elevate the conversation to a granular level. That's where I
Yeah.
think we're at this point. And I'm that's all I'll say about that at this point, and I'll let you guys carry on.
Thank you much, dear board. Any other contributions? If not, I would like to say a few words to board. Dear board, in fact, today's session was for this purpose. In fact, I mean, we were trying to have a brainstorming regarding how it can be implemented. And I would like to add one thing to your words. I am personally against pilots and experiments because I think this is a political choice. And the pilots and experiments are not really experimenting the case. Because, for example, the Finnish experiment, let's say, you give a certain amount of money to a small group of people for a certain period. And all the people who are there, they know that it will end after 6 months or 1 year, whatever, and they know that the life will not continue like this. So we don't really test the UBI because we don't really feel the positive impact of UBI on the whole society. Let's say millions of people, but several hundreds of people are receiving that money, and you don't know how it will affect the economy, how it will affect the demand-supply relation, etc., etc. So my point is, in fact, we had a very interesting discussion during the Nordic meeting in Copenhagen a few years ago. UBI is a political choice. So the experiments and pilot studies, I think they may be a kind of loss of time in the meantime. So maybe, for example, there's a new experimental study in Germany for 3 years, and 120 people will receive 1,200 euros, I guess, and DIW, the German governmental research institute, will follow the experiments, etc., etc. This is very good. It looks very good. But in the meantime, it is, how I can say, it's an obstacle because people would like, okay, let's see the experiment, let's see the results, okay, evaluate the results. It will take another 6-7 months. So this means that it will take another 4 years. So my understanding is, you are right, we should go beyond the philosophy of it, and it should be launched as a political choice. And maybe, I don't want to say I'm against, but we are spending a lot of time with pilots and experiments. That's I am not happy with. Thank you. Oh, Slovenia, Valeria, please.
Yes, I would like to join you with this remark. We had many discussions about experiments, about lottery and everything like that in past 10 years. And we were against for 2 reasons. First of all, if this is human right, how can you differ between people who can apply or get human right and people who can't? And the same is with lottery. We don't want people to perceive basic income as lottery money. It's not. So we really don't, I mean, I was always strongly against playing with the idea of basic income. The second point is about getting real. I mean, I do believe that in Slovenia we have such a result also because 10 years ago we got the first and only good proposal for basic income in Slovenia. Calculation, design, microsimulation, and no one could dispute the result, which is UBI is manageable. There is a money. So in our campaign this year, we are not explaining anything. We are just collecting signatures. We are for it. We have money. We explained everything. Now we just have to show the politicians there's also a will among people. So we are really straightforward. we are not even writing down anymore universal basic income. We are just using UBI, how to say, short three words. You know, I mean, we are really like doing, like everyone knows everything about it already. Just sign. That's all.
Can I
Thank
can
you
I
very much,
say
Valerie.
something?
Thank you.
Please, Kimberly.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, while I totally wholeheartedly agree that it's like it's time to like fucking, excuse me, it's time to get moving and bring the granular things to the table. I know that but I think we have to also be really cognizant of the fact that there are so many people struggling, and the more we can drive home that cash is the solution and put that in people's faces, the more exposure and the more it will drive it all home. One, and two, like here in the States, you know, we have to have people in power to put legislation into to make the legislation and to bring forth other people who aren't quite convinced yet. So we're getting there. I mean, we like Peter was saying, Humanity Forward has endorsed a number of candidates, and hopefully moving into the next term, we will have a number of those candidates in office and can start moving forward with putting legislation and writing that legislation. But that is the ultimate goal, and starting to talk about the granular things is definitely a good idea. And I know it's different for every country. Every legislation process is different.
Thank you, Kimberly. Dear Claudia.
Yes, I'm sorry it took me so long. I just want to say, for me, also a bit like maybe was saying Kimberly, for me, a pilot is one of the best communication tools. It's still just a communication tools, for sure, but it brings people into the idea, and like we're all very convinced of this topic, and we've all like, you know, advanced quite a bit in our knowledge about it, but the greater public is not so informed about it, unfortunately. That's pretty surprising. So we still have a lot to do to make it heard. So that's why I was talking about, you know, artists making videos, advocating for that. The one I've put in the chat is people who have been in the Ontario pilot that witness for their experience, which have been like slaughtered by Dogford as conservative. So of course, like a pilot has the risk to be slaughtered by a government, a change of government, and yeah, it has no guarantee. It has no statistical veracity. It has a lot of lack, a lot of weaknesses, but it's proof is in the pudding kind of thing. It's like people can, when they test it, they really understand and advocate for it in a strong way. So for me, yes, it's only a communication tool. So that's not so much, but it's a lot right now. So yeah, it makes us lose time to get to something more concrete for everyone and everything. But in the meantime, we don't have much going. I mean, we don't have anything concrete. We need concrete. This is one part of concrete stuff. So that's in the way of getting like communication and concrete together. I'd say it's not so bad.
Thank you very much. Any other friends who, our friend from Malaysia, maybe you would like to say something? Zahar?
Yeah, hi.
Please.
I got disconnected. Anyway, yeah, I think the blockchain idea is really good. And I feel like, you know, we have so many websites. I find it very difficult to keep up, actually. And I was wondering whether there's any plans for, like, for example, like for me, right? I did my own website, which looks terrible, by the way. Don't go look. Don't Google it. Anyway, so trying to recruit my friends to join. But perhaps we could have like you know how like Google Groups or even like those website companies, they have a template for you if you want to start your own group, if you want to start your own classrooms and so forth. Perhaps we can do something like that, combine them with blockchain, where in the content, the people who are providing the content get paid in some sort of crypto. That's my crazy idea. And actually, we should have like a listing of every human being on this planet, because everybody deserves UBI, I think. Especially people who are disenfranchised, people who are not banked, as mentioned earlier. You know, because when you, like, there are a lot of countries, I think we should start with like smaller countries, like, I don't know, Mauritius or like Tuvalu or whatever. They have only 5,000 people. I think we could come up with some money to give them like some UBI, you know, and I know there are a lot of organizations in the West, but not many in Asia, and there are a lot of people happening in Africa because you have a closer connection. And I guess Asians are like supposedly like the hub of civilization, you know, and there are a lot of like aristocracy, people who are like from old money, who may not be interested to share that privilege, I think. So I think that's a issue that I face in this country. Whenever I talk about it, we have a somewhat of a social welfare system, which is sadly race-based or even like privilege-based, I would say, yeah, or state-based or politically based. So it's very hard. I think like blockchain would be a great solution because it's a decentralized system and everybody can see the codes. And if you didn't understand the codes, I think there are so many people out there with YouTube videos which can explain it to you in your language, and it will be easier for you to participate, I think.
Thank you, Zar. Thank you for your contributions.
Thank you.
Any other friends who would like to contribute? Oh, Michelle is here. Dear Michelle, Michael, am I correct?
Michele, no, sorry for joining late. I had an ordinary business day, so I couldn't start from the early day. I'm mostly here to listen because I just joined. I'm glad to hear you, Zar.
Thank you, Michael. We have friends from, oh, Sudhir. Sudhir, would you like to say anything? Or Sudhir, I guess your connection is not good. We cannot hear you, or we cannot understand you. I'm sorry. Maybe next meeting. Hello? Sudhir, I'm sorry, maybe next meeting. Who else who didn't speak up to now? Yeah, dear Roswitha from Austria. Would you like to say anything or any contributions from you?
Yes, I'm trying. Just, am I visible now? I hope so. Hello to everybody. Yeah. I just could listen to a part of the discussion here. I heard a lot about blockchain and so on, and I'm also with you that more experiments or pilot project do not bring any further clearance to the situation or to the idea, because there's only just a few people participating in there, and it doesn't affect the economy or society. So it really would be a good thing if one country starts, and even if it's the smallest in the world. I don't know how big is Rarotonga or something like that, but if one country starts, I think there will be a domino effect. Yeah. And yeah, in Austria we already have referendum now, running now, which will end by the end of next year, and we hope we will gain the necessary 100,000 signatures. Up to now, we have about 48,000, so there's still more than halfway to go, so that the Parliament has to discuss it.
Thank you, dear Roswitha. Any other friends would like to say or add anything? Maybe I would like to say a few things to Roswitha. Roswitha, are you in connection with the ECI UBI group? Klaus
Yes.
Samber, Uli Samber?
Yes.
Okay, because there's a huge potential of creating synergy with them, as you mentioned. Because
we are doing this initiative together here in Austria with all the 5 big groups of the UBI here in Austria, and I'm also included in the raffle that is supporting the ECI.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm trying to see anybody who didn't contribute today. Oh, Janus is here. Dear Janus, I didn't see you at the beginning. Would you like to say anything? Any contributions from you? Please unmute yourself. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So we are going. We are going. No, it's too much to say. Very well, but well. Estonia got just got 700 signatures in the ECI, and as I told earlier, we have an intention, and maybe we do it. We will do it during 1 week. To create own organization in Estonia, and it's very interesting thing. We have currently so-called marriage war in Estonia. Very loud discussion about this who can be officially married, can be marriage be defined as between man and woman, or everyone. So, and it seems that not related, of course, to the UBI, but it seems that as people became much more active than usually, it also has some impact to the signatures of ECI. People are maybe more open eyes, and they find also different initiatives in other terms, included this Europe initiative.
Thank you very much, Janus. As far as I see, all our friends made contributions. If we do not have anything else regarding this issue, let's finish this agenda item. I would like to make 2 announcements. I'm sorry, they are both bad news, sad news. Mike Danson, he couldn't stay up to now, but he gave information that dear Annie Miller's partner, you know Annie Miller, she's one of the founders of the BN, Basic Income Earth Network. Unfortunately, he died because of Corona. And also our dear friend Ulrike Bus from Germany, she also lost her mother. I would like to give this 2 sad information to you. Maybe you would like to write to them. Let's very quickly continue with our second agenda item. I will take only a few minutes. It will be like a brief information about what's ongoing on. 1 second, where it is. Okay, here it is. Dear friends, in fact, dear Robin mentioned about the ECI UBI campaign, which is being held in the European Union member states, the 27 countries. And you know, in the meantime, in other corners of the world, we are trying to have similar campaigns too. At the moment, there are 11 countries who are interested, other than the European Union countries. 6 of them started. And for example, let me give you some figures. Costa Rica, number 4 here. You see, they started and they have 238 signatures or likes from the beginning. Very good that, because they just started, we can say that they are very new. And also another one is Indonesia. Indonesia collected 129. Again, they started within the few weeks ago. India, there's only 33 at the moment, but I know that they are working very hard and they will do very good, because they are trying to organize a network in the universities with the youngsters. Shobana is doing a lot of work. We are talking maybe twice a week, and I know that they will reach to a very good result. By the way, this column, the first column, is the targeted number of signatures. And the second column is the number of inhabitants in these countries. And third column is number of signatures or likes, depending on the platform where they are performing this campaign. And the performance criteria as a percentage of the target. So what else I can say? For example, another one is Norway. Norway started again a few weeks ago, and now they are 444 signatures. They are doing very well. And South Africa, they are doing very, very well. In fact, theirs is not exactly a UBI, but something similar to UBI, but they are working very hard, and now they have 45,000 signatures. And in Turkey, we have only 3,536 supporters. But these are all moving. This is the beginning of the year. At the end of the first month, you know, they all started on 25th of September. I'm sure in the coming months, things will be working much better. And maybe at the end of the year, I hope the ECI campaign will reach to the targets, and in the meantime, the others will reach to a lot of supporters too. By the way, the targets mentioned here are the success criteria of the ECI campaign. So we use the same percentages. For example, let's check Slovenia. Slovenia, you see, it is 37%. Why it is 37%? It was 76% in the table shown by Robin, but it was not enough. You know, they have to double the target figure of their country. So it is 37% of the real target. So this is a very short, brief information regarding the simultaneous independent signature collection campaigns. In these campaigns, the only criteria is they should be for UBI, and all the campaigns are totally independent. I mean, it's not something like a global UBI campaign, or, I mean, it is at different countries, but simultaneously with different content. That's all I would like to say about this agenda item. If you do have any questions, I can answer. But in the coming months, we will be reporting in a much better presentation materials, etc. We are trying to make them ready. Do you have any questions regarding the simultaneous signature collection campaigns? I guess I see that now.
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
My question is England participating? England.
Dear Eric, this is a very good question. In fact, you know, while developing the ECI UBI campaign during the last 3 years, I was a part of the discussions under the UBI umbrella. It was developed. And UBI is a big umbrella, but EU is a part of it. And Turkey, Norway, Switzerland, and Iceland are not a part of EU. but still it was a product of the UBI. At that time, United Kingdom was a part of UBI and also was a part of EU. But after Brexit, unfortunately, the number of countries is not anymore 28, but 27. We forced a lot or talked to few friends, also Paul is here, and talked to Reinhard, Barb, I mean, many friends from UK, but they thought, you know, the timing of this campaign is in harmony with the timing of the EU campaign, because we try to use the same timing. So because of the Brexit issue, maybe UK citizens are not that ready to follow a timing of the EU team. I mean, there's small problems.
Yes.
Maybe
Okay.
Paul can say a few things about this. Paul, what you say?
Yeah, we should collect signatures in the UK. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, we can't do it as part of the EU campaign. I've signed the EU campaign because I've got an Irish passport as well. And I've been encouraging people in this country who've got passports from European countries to sign, but that's about it at the moment. Yeah. What's going on in the UK is not so much a signature campaign, but an explosion of UBI labs, which I think is what most people are putting their energy into. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Paul. Dear friends, I would like to say a technical point. In fact, according to my belief, UK citizens still can sign this ECI till the end of this year. No. I mean, because at the beginning of the last year, UK parliaments are not anymore a part of the legislative power of the EU. But till the end of this year, we have 2 more months, UK citizens are still EU citizens. So I don't know. This is something. I mean, okay. I don't want to talk anymore about this issue, but it is a question mark in my mind all the time.
Maybe I can say something about it, because it's not that UK citizens do not want to sign, but it's whether European Union will accept these signatures, whether they would count it. This is the point. Yes, we still have option to travel in European Union without visas till 31st of December. But whether European Union will accept signatures in the future, because they, as soon as we will collect them till December, anyway, the accountability would be still already in 2021, isn't it? And so that's the probably the thoughts why it's not collected.
I have a question. Assume that somebody from, let's say, one of the existing EU member states, let's say from Germany, Hans, a friend Hans, signed the petition today.
Yes.
Okay, but unfortunately he died at the end of this year. At the end of the campaign,
Yes,
what will
exactly.
happen? Will they count his signature or not? Because he signed it while he had this right.
I don't know. That's the point. That's probably for someone who is longer than myself in this group to figure it out.
Dear Elena, my friends know my feelings about this campaign. It is the biggest campaign for UBI up to now. 27 countries, 24 official languages, different official languages, more than 60 indigenous languages, huge geography, and a lot of other countries can follow the campaign here. And I am sure if they fail, then UBI movement will have a big damage. I mean, if they are successful, it will have a huge support to other campaigns too. But you see, after the Brexit, the population addressed was 520 million before. Now it is 450 million. So the pool becomes smaller, but the success criteria is the same. Again, 1 million signatures. So
Yeah.
they didn't modify the success criteria. Maybe they should say, instead of 1 million signatures, because of Brexit, it should be 850,000. Then it was more
achievable.
Or yeah, achievable. Anyhow, thank you very much for the discussion. Any other friends? Any other friends who would like to say anything about their country other than these discussions? Okay, so then we can finish our labor of today. Hope to see you in our next meeting. You know, we are meeting in the second and fourth Tuesdays of each month, but separately, I would like to mention once again, I also put into the chat box, we have a additional meeting on 16th of November, where our guest will be dear Enno Schmidt, and he will talk about the lessons learned from the Swiss referendum for UBI. All the details are in the chat box. Oh, Sabine is raising her hand. Dear Sabine, please.
As I mentioned before, I don't want to make you very sleepy. We had a petition on the UBI in our government, and Susanne Wiest was giving it in to the government, and we had 3 other petitions just on the UBI for this crisis, and they collected altogether 1 million signatures, which is quite a lot. And of course, only the one petition was in a hearing yesterday in our parliament in Berlin, and they had just 1 hour to explain why they want to have initialized and implemented a basic income for this crisis. Unfortunately, we have at least 3 or 4 parties in Germany who are completely against these UBI. Michael maybe can correct me. And they were asking, well, some nasty questions about this initiative, this petition. But Susanne Wiest is a very strong woman who did a petition 10 years ago. And they didn't say yes. Yesterday, by all these all these members in Germany who are, trying to take the UBI into the population, were standing behind Susanne because she's very into the item, and she is working together with Enno Schmidt and his new association in Freiburg. And one of the main professor was talking with her yesterday in the parliament, and unfortunately they didn't. I don't think that they want to say yes, or maybe taking a part of the thinking of getting people really better on a sustainable life. Because what we are doing here right now in Germany is little bits and pieces to give people money to live on this crisis. And it's not really working very well. And we think to have a UBI just for this crisis would help everybody. And well, the result is not published right now, so I can't tell you. Well, the media was pro and contra, of course, and but many associations are behind Susanne Wiest, and like Mein Grundeinkommen, who is giving away a monthly UBI, as they did with me. I had this for 1 year, so I can tell what's doing to people who got a contribution and who got a